in mind. So I'll start with my PPT. Can you all see this?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Just,
No,
just
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
Yes,
I'm not
ma'am.
going to, yes, I'm not going to maximize it or put it on slideshow because, it tends to, it does not move usually like that. So if it is clearly visible like this, I'll go ahead with this. And since it is there on the entire screen, if it goes, please, one of you may let me know whether the slide is moving or not without any, inhibition. Last time it so happened that I put it on slideshow and it wasn't moving, but and they kept sending messages and which I could not see because the slide is here on the full screen. So I cannot see what is happening on other windows. So let me know if it doesn't move, right? So you can see the topic over here, leadership gap among women in higher education, which is a very pertinent, which is a
Yes,
very which is a very pertinent topic. And the all through the PPT, we'll discover what happens, what is the reason why are there so many women at, no, I'm still there at the first slide. Uh, um, I was telling you that we'll have to see the reasons why there are so many women at the bottom level when they join education or higher education. But as we move the ladder to the top administration of educational institutions, we see that negligible number of women are visible over there. Leave alone the girls' colleges and women's colleges where a woman has to be a principal or the senior administrator necessarily, which are women-only posts. But when it comes to general posts, we see that the number of women is negligible. So let us first understand to discover why there are why so few women are there. We'll first have to see what is leadership, what does it require, and what is it that where is the gap between what is required to be a leader and why women are not leaders in higher education. So we all know that leadership is very important and there are types of leadership, and whenever we think of a leader, immediately a political figure or a social activist or something of the like comes to our mind, right? But a leader is much more. Let's come to defining leadership. Various authors, thinkers have given definitions on leadership. This is one by Professor Warren Bennis, which says that leadership is a function of knowing yourself, having a vision that is well communicated, building trust amongst colleagues, and taking effective action to realize your own leadership potential. Also, leadership is the art of leading others to deliberately create a result that wouldn't have happened otherwise. That's true. Just as we say that history is an event of the past which had some consequence. We know it's always been leaders at the forefront which have led movements, revolutions that caused major changes in the society. Had it not been for a leader, it would have been, 20,000 men and women at one place won't be able to do anything if there is not a leader. There is not one figure who guides them that this is the next step. That is the importance of a leader. And generally, we see that those people climb up the administrative positions who either have the leadership knack or the knack to get something, or they have such qualities which are found in leaders. Now, defining leadership further, just now, as I've discussed with you, that this word can bring to a mind variety of images. It could be, a political one or something like that. Leaders help themselves and others to do the right things. They set direction, build an inspiring vision, and create something new. Leadership is about mapping out where you need to go to win as a team or an organization. So we know that with a leader will map the way for us, show the way to us. And wherever he is going, if we follow, the victory is going to be definite. So people join leaders to get what they want. And it is a dynamic, exciting, and very inspiring um, personality also. Further, defining leadership further, that's by Barbara Keller. What she says is that once upon a time, we simply obeyed orders issued by our superiors, our leaders, and our managers. Now we incline more to challenge them. We know that the 21st century people, 21st century, uh, you know, masses, children, women, men, we are much smarter because we are very well informed. There is nothing that we do not know about owing to the sea of information around us. We know what is happening in every corner of the world, aware what is the truth actually, whether it comes to politics, whether it comes to economy, whether it comes to war and peace, whether it comes to education, whether it comes to unions of nations, everything we know about it. So it's very difficult to mislead the 21st century people. And that is why it is even more difficult to become a leader in such an era. To lead a mass of people who are intelligent and aware. So the change is cultural and contextual. Norms are now such that followers demand more and leaders succumb more often. So it's a tougher job being a leader today. Now, here you can see these birds moving towards something, and there is one which is climbing first and looking at the other side. So, this is the leader. The leader has to take the first step first. So, if there is any risk attached with it, that is of the leader. And the masses will simply follow once the way is clear. So, that is why we need a leader to show us the way. And the leader has the one who has to take risks. And coming back to the slide of this, where the leader is taking the risk, I'll request all the women folk over here, all the females that are there in this course, to just ponder for a minute, think for a minute. Will they do this job of taking the first step and taking the risk? That is, I'll leave it just as a question. But all of you must question yourself. Will you do this? If yes, it's great. If not, think about it. Why? Why is leadership important? Because it is a challenging process, and leader is the one who challenges the process, inspires a shared vision, enables others to act, encourages the heart, and models the way. So see, it's a whole cycle. Leader will experiment, take risks, and learn. And this is how he or she will challenge the process. Enlisting others in a common vision, making others join the common cause, inspiring a shared vision, fostering collaboration, strengthening people, giving them the mental and the physical strength to come and join the cause and contribute over there. That is enabling others to act. Then recognizing their individual contribution and celebrating as a team. That is encouraging the people. And then setting an example and achieving small wins. That is modeling the way. You have to show that together you can and together you can win. I'll show you the way. I'll think about it, how to do it. You just follow me, you just join me, and we'll achieve the win. We'll model the way. So the leader models the way, people join them to be a part of that victory. So this is why leadership is important. Now, coming to this slide, which is about academic leadership. Now, academic leadership is the force which guides the university as a whole. You can see over here. Mm, Administrative positions at senior level are vested with the responsibility, whether derived by statute, charter, or articles of incorporation, for ensuring that the institution and its members fulfill their educational, social, and ethical mandates. In a university system or anywhere, any kind of leader cannot function without any set rules and regulations, which are implemented upon everyone of the same genre. Every university has its own rules, regulations, statutes, guidelines, charters, etc. We all have our academic councils, executive councils. We all have our senates, which decides such matters. Mm, And within the jurisdiction of these mandates, the leader has to function. In a university, leadership responsibilities reside both in the position and with the individual who holds the office at any point in time. And one important thing to note is that leaders in academic institutions may not necessarily be the one who are the best teachers or researchers, but the ones who are known for their judgment, institutional knowledge, and predictive powers. Those who can foresee the future, those who have the institutional knowledge, those who are wise and who can judge wisely. Such individuals are usually drawn into the institutional structure through appointment to senior administrative posts. So think about your own institutions, wherever you teach, and see who are the people at the higher administrative positions. Are they all the time the ones who excel in teaching and research? Or are they the ones who have the knowledge about the administrative procedures, rules, regulations, etc.? So, and then just keep it in your mind. Now, what is unique about academic leadership? Academic leadership, unlike business or corporate sector, is a service-oriented sector with a profit motive. The main objectives of higher education are production of knowledge through research and dissemination of knowledge. So, in education, all educational leaders have to think about making the educational field better, doing something for the institution which is going to, bring positive reforms in education system, and the administration of the educational institutions, which ultimately is going to act as a good tool for betterment of education also. We know that these are certain qualities which have to be in a leader and in an academic leader too. That is self-awareness, emotional intelligence, social awareness, self-direction, and the ability to motivate. Now let's come to women and academic leadership. That's the topic of discussion today. We come to the most often discussed things today, that why are there so few women when it comes to leadership positions in educational institutions? Mm, Although some of you may say that these reasons have been quoted everywhere since times immemorial, ever since we started discussing about women. But the sad part is that we have not been able to do away with these reasons also. They still exist. Reason being, mm, leaving alone the bigger cities, the metropolitans, and leaving alone the rich strata of society, we do see that the rest of the women who do not belong to the higher strata, higher income group of the society, or who belong to remote areas, villages, towns, etc., do not have that access to education which the women, on the other hand, have. And there are reasons for it. There are plenty of reasons for it, because of which they have to, opt out of education midway. They may not even reach higher education. And they have unequal participation in the power structures of society. They do not have decision making powers because they are not economically and financially independent. And there is insufficient mechanism to promote the advancement of women. So on the one hand, there are certain reasons which are there, embedded in the society, because of which women cannot get higher education, leave alone leadership. And number two, there is no mechanism to fight that also. No, let us say, effective mechanism to fight that. There are not enough plans, policies, etc., which promote the education of women. What are the key aspects when it comes to women in higher education? Three main factors are there. This slide tells us about these three factors. Number one is societal attitude, which discourage women's participation in decision making. That's true. When it comes to decision making, even at our homes, or elsewhere, we see that men folk, with due apologies and with no intention of hurting anyone, we have a uh, you know, mixed participants over here, male and female both. But if I say something, please take it as something coming from a woman who has 24 years of experience of working in an educational institution. I have been on administrative positions. I'm involved in various works of the university. And the way I have to conduct myself, or it's very different from what my male counterpart he has to conduct himself. And it's not easy. I will own up that. It's difficult. But yes, things have to be found out, ways have to be discovered, but it's tough for women, not so easy. And when it comes to decision making, generally women are kept out of it. Then there is lower enrollment of women in higher education, though patterns are changing. Now we see that lot of women, in fact, at some places, the number of female admissions exceed the number of boys admissions. Um, that shows that in the larger cities, in the bigger universities, and in the areas around them, the people have become more conscious, and girls have become more conscious, and they want to achieve the best education. But there is still an absence of gender dimension in the higher education curriculum. We have made environment very compulsory for everyone to learn and know about. Good, very good. It should be. It concerns everyone. It's a big issue today. But this issue is also there, which is going to bring a very bad imbalance in society. So we have to think about it, about the gender dimension, how to maintain the ratio, and particularly how to introduce this gender dimension in the higher education curriculum. Now this slide tells us about women's participation in decision making. The very common cause is the dual stress of family and professional roles, the family attitudes, the career interruptions. Even if a female joins, let us see, an educational institution as a assistant professor and all, and she's newly married, there are a lot of pressures on her. And then the biological clock of women is very different. She has to take care of that also. She has the natural responsibility of being a mother, of creating a family. And that's there in us, in all of us women. And we want to do that. But uh, I wouldn't say a bad effect or something, but an effect of that is that our careers take a backseat for good number of years, and that's unavoidable. That's simply unavoidable. A newly married male assistant professor will be the most productive person in the educational institution, but a newly married female assistant professor will work, will contribute, but not she'll not be able to do as much as the male counterpart. Exceptions are always there. Reason being, if she's married and she's in the family way, that takes that that is a time when she has to take a back seat for a good number of years. But then what I see is that after those years are over, have lost women lose the inclination to work harder. After, when your children have grown up 5 6 years of age and everything, that is the time when you have to spring back. But that springing back is often not noticed. That is the saddest part, and that is what makes the women remain at the basal level. So these career interruptions have to be managed. Appointment and promotion practices that majorly favor men. I will not say that they are made in such a way, but all these circumstances go in favor of men. Reasons we are, still discussing. The women's participation in decision making is that they are culturally stereotyped. There is alienation from the male culture, of course, because male form a camaraderie of their own. They sit back even after office hours. They will go to various administrative offices and meet administrative officers and have a friendship with them, so easier opportunities are available to them than their female counterparts. Even the very smart female of the institutions will not be found visiting administrative offices and sitting with the administrative officers, or cracking a joke over a cup of tea. That is not acceptable in our society, and most of the women will not have the inclination to do it either. So what happens is that opportunities become lesser for women because they are alienated from the male culture. Then there is propagation of the glass ceiling syndrome, or women are always stuck over there, that we are women, how can we do this, how can we do that, and it's like that, it's been like that since ages, so we never break the glass ceiling. We don't think of taking that extra step, and that is where and in the absence of inadequate policies and legislations, we find it difficult to make our way through. Then coming to women in higher education governance, uh, uh, we see that in higher education governance, those women that are there, we see that they have a strong record of academic leadership excellence in research and teaching. They have excellent leadership skills, including visioning capacities and management skills. They need to have institutional experience, international experience of higher education, and negotiating skills to deal with all stakeholders. And of course, communication skills and charisma. For a woman to be successful, she needs to have all this. She needs to have a deadly combo of all this. And on top of that, she has to be academically very sound also. For men, sometimes this may be a waiver, their academic performance may not be so great, but they'll still rise to higher administrative positions and enjoy all the power and perks. But when it comes to women, nobody will pick a woman who's not academically sound. She has to be excellent in research and teaching also. So it's a tougher field for women, no doubt. And hence, women remain stuck to excellence in research and teaching and forget about academic leadership. The leadership skills and concern for women's issues. The slide will talk about this. And we see here that Leonard and Seigel have developed an interesting leadership matrix for women leaders, and which explains four types of women. Number one are women who have not yet developed any leadership role. Number two are the women who are leaders but are male identified. That's true. Either they have not taken up any leadership roles. There are plenty of women who are male identified leaders. Generally, women are stereotyped. And if there are certain committees and positions in which a woman has to be there, many a times, not always, we do see that they are male identified women. That means the what it denotes is that they're going to listen to men for whatever is to be done. They will not have a mind of their own. This is a general observation. You can you may not accept my observation, but this is there that generally they will pick up a woman who will do as they say, or who is not capable of taking independent decisions and will come running to them asking for help and guidance. So this is how they will have the reins in their hands. And this happens if you look around, if you see, you'll see that many times this happens. Women who identify with women's issue yet are unable to take on leadership roles. Unable, देखिए हर जगह we are talking about not taking up, not developed, unable. So a lot of it is on the side of the women also. There is lack of inclination and lack of willingness also to come forward and take up the jobs, the so-called difficult jobs. We all want to get rid of it. What happens is that we get accustomed to getting the privileges all the time and doing the routine tasks all the time. So when you are stuck in taking privileges and doing the routine work, how will you make a mark for yourself? While I have been observing that the boys and the males at the workplaces, they will leave the routine jobs to people, as much as possible, and will get on to doing jobs which will make them noticeable. Women do not do that. They remain stuck to routine jobs. That's a major, major mistake that we all make. Women who are leaders and identify women's agenda as part of their commitment. There are some women who do realize that. I do believe that there is no use crying feminism and being underplayed all the time. The important thing to do is doing good work and not entertaining nonsense also. What happens is this is a world which notices or gives importance to people. This is an informal observation that I'm sharing with you. The world gives importance to those who disagree or create problems. So what happens is that if you see something wrong and you do not object to it or do not bring it to notice, people think that it can be easily done all the time. And the moment you point it out, just to please you or not to or to stop you from speaking further, an opportunity will be presented to you. So this is a very bad thing to share, but this is what I have observed in all my 24 years. Sometimes you have to say a line or two which is going to hit their mind like anything. You have to develop wisdom, you have to develop power of observation. Whatever you say should be crisp and to the point, and it should hit the target. Then only will you be taken seriously. Whether you speak or not, when you're sitting somewhere, people will look at you and be scared that what is she going to speak next, right? And if she speaks, what is it going to be? So it's better. मतलब वो थोड़ा सा डरते हैं फिर कि अगर कोई सही ऑब्जर्वेशन आ गया या कुछ हो गया। मगर उसके लिए आपको अपने आप को सशक्त बहुत बनाना पड़ेगा, आपको सब चीजों की मालूमात रखनी पड़ेगी, आपको सब कुछ पता होना चाहिए। दिस इज एन एडवाइस टू द young women who are listening right now. Now, feminine leadership in academia. It's a commitment to power sharing. It is an insistence on self respect. It is a focus on concrete results in the professional context and recognition and accommodation of the pressure. Power sharing, big thing. Nobody wants to share power, leave alone sharing power with a woman. Nobody wants to do that ever. This is a very harsh truth. So, even if women become leaders, they are the trendsetters, but they are leaders with much lesser privileges than men. This is also there. And you have to be professional extremely, because there's no scope for a woman to make mistakes or do work which is not up to the standard, because women are branded. उनको एक ब्रांड कर दिया गया है कि क्योंकि औरतें हैं तो ये इस तरह का काम करेंगी, या अगर कमी है तो इसलिए क्योंकि एक लेडी ने ये काम किया है। ये है, एक जनरल टेंडेंसी है। इसलिए द प्रेशर टू परफॉर्म द बेस्ट इज ऑलवेज देयर। Men can get away doing things which may not be, exactly up to the mark. They'll never be questioned. Their, intellect will never be questioned. But a woman's intellect will be questioned if she, अगर उसका 2% भी काम standard से नीचे हुआ तो. So that pressure is always there, and that's what makes women more professional. You get used to performing best all the time, and that's a great thing to happen. That is power sharing, because when you are the best in the workplace, nobody can speak in front of you, and you don't have to listen to anyone also. So you can imagine the amount of hard work a woman has to do to assume that position. The next slide is about women's unique leadership characteristics. Caliper is a management consulting firm in New Jersey. It has identified 4 specific statements about women's leadership qualities. Number 1 is women leaders are more persuasive than their male counterparts. That's true, because when a woman means business and she talks sense sitting on a seat of power, people do take her seriously, because it is certain that whatever she's speaking is well researched, is the correct thing, and that has to be done. Number 2 is when feeling the sting of rejection, women leaders learn from adversity and carry on with an "I'll show you" attitude. That's there. That's one advantage of being rejected all the time or not being included in the mainstream, because they're so used to it. So even if it happens, they are not like sad or feeling dejected, or instead they still feel that we have to carry on and do better the next time. So it's never like a vindictive attitude or a revengeful attitude. No, I need to be better. And that's something very good to happen. When you think of making yourself better step by step, day by day, months by months, that's the best thing to do. Women leaders demonstrate an inclusive team building leadership style of problem solving and decision making. For women, it's if there is a problem, it belongs to her. If it belongs to her organization, it belongs to her. She makes it her own, whether it belongs to any Tom, Dick, and Harry in the organization, but the problem belongs to her. And she wants to solve it. And that is one positive aspect of women leadership, that she takes all problems as her own. and really wants to get a solution for it, which improves the team spirit of the organization to a great extent. Women leaders can even ignore rules and take risks at times, because she has that inclination. Those who come forward, these are those very small chunk of women, not everyone, the small chunk of women who are the cream women, those who come forward and take leadership positions. They are so smart that at times they can ignore rules also to take risks and prove themselves, and most of the times stands correct also. That's one of the qualities of a female leader. Now, a female leader is a compassionate female leader, and she will be well accepted because she is compassionate. She will talk to the attendant also, she will talk to the driver also, she will talk to the people in the office also, will know about their own personal problems also. And she'll be mindful. She's a great HR manager, she's a great human resource implementer. She will manage her human resource with a compassionate heart which is firm also, and that's one thing which can make the people connected to her. And she will find a solution. She will never take a no for any situation. She will go from pillar to post to find a solution to a specific problem. And she's great to collaborate also. She's great in collaboration also. She will not hesitate in joining hands with others, bringing more resources for the organization, and roping in more people with her. And they are not afraid to share talent, time, and resources. A female leader will procure the money also from somewhere or the other, so that the situation in the organization becomes better day by day. The bottom line is, a compassionate leader inspires and empowers others along the way. So slowly she can become popular also. Now, the big question, all this is happening, but still, why? Why so few women in senior administrative positions in higher education? There are, I hope you are all are able to see the slide and you're listening to me. We are on the slide of personal factors. Huh? This
Yes,
slide,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
this
Yes,
slide.
ma'am, very carefully.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. This slide is on personal factors. We know that there are, see, when a woman enters professional field, and let us say that is the time when she's getting married, she's having children, she's looking after a new family, a new job, a new family, new, and she's a new mother. I mean, it's too much for her to handle. So if she works, she's going to go to work and come back, do the routine jobs only. And I'm sitting here with you, I'll tell you, this happened with me also. I just finished my master's and qualified net and everything. I got a job. I got married. Oh, it was all in a span of 3 months, from March till June. Getting a job, getting married, new home, new family, and everything. It was like a roller coaster ride. But and my only target was delivering the class well. And whatever time with a new family and everything, getting adjusted to the new atmosphere, there was not much time to think about reading and writing and doing things. But thankfully, I was into a family which is a family of teachers and university teachers. So they all knew the importance of it, and they gave me all the encouragement and the opportunity to work. But then new life has its own demands, and you cannot neglect it. So at that time, the aspirations were not very high. And all I could think of was, getting the day in hand, getting the day in order, delivering my class. But then it happened, my inclination to deliver the class well went on. I would go prepared to the class. and take some very routine jobs in the department. And when I became a mother, of course, I could devote much lesser time, but I don't regret it. I never felt intimidated by my male competitors. They were doing things which I was not at that time, but that never made me feel incompetent or lesser in any way, because I was bringing up a child, I was looking after a family, but I was becoming a good teacher also side by side. And I would write articles now and then, go to conferences, etc. Slowly, I started taking some small administrative jobs also. And I developed an area where, placements and connection with the industry became my passion. And that went into my favor greatly as my career progressed. But I never felt less, or I knew that, whenever I have the time, I will work much harder. And that is what I did. When my daughter became 6 years of age, 7 years of age, that was the time when I sprung back into action. And earlier, when my male competitors were, attending one conference in a year, I would attend four in a year. I would go with my child, and with the support of my family, of course, and everything. I would attend four in a year. I would publish them. I would write such papers because I had become accustomed to working very hard. And in my next 3 years, I could outdo what my male competitors were doing. And it was like everybody used to say, "Ab tumhe kya ho gaya?" हमने कहा, "नहीं, now I have the time." And meanwhile, all through the years when I was not doing substantial work, मेरा बेस बन रहा था, मैं कुछ एक आर्टिकल की शुरुआत कर दी, उसका मैटर से मतलब कर लिया, उसको ले आए। वही चीज़ों को बाद में मैंने फाइन ट्यून करके प्रेज़ेंट करना शुरू किया। पहले मैं ख़त्म नहीं कर पाती थी, उसकी फाइन ट्यूनिंग नहीं कर पाती थी, बट देन आई डिड इट, राइट? So, and I was never reluctant to accept responsibility also. And
मैडम,
yes,
सॉरी टू डिस्टर्ब यू हियर।
yes,
आप जो भी अभी बोल रही हैं पूरा का पूरा एब्स्ट्रैक्ट में जा रहा है, कुछ कंक्रीट में किसी बोलेंगी कुछ डेटा के साथ कि महिला जो लीडरशिप का जो कंसेप्ट है या तो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पोस्ट पर या मिलिट्री पोस्ट पर, जो भी किसी भी क्षेत्र में जो लीडरशिप का कॉन्सेप्ट है महिला का, फेमिनिन,
जी हाँ, जी हाँ, जी हाँ।
तो उसका क्या
देखिए, मैं आपको
इम्पैक्ट
एक
कर
बात
रहा है?
बताऊँ। हाँ, मैं आपको एक
कंक्रीट
बात
में या
बताऊँ।
सारा का सारा एब्स्ट्रैक्ट में चला जाएगा, एक हाइपोथेसिस में की तरह?
नहीं, नहीं, हाइपोथेसिस नहीं है ये। ये सारी जो भी अगर
मैम
आपको
का दिल
डेटा
से निकला
चाहिए,
हुआ
मैं
चीज
आपको
है।
पूरा डेटा
हाँ,
का भी दे दूंगी। हेलो, हाँ,
हाँ,
हाँ, देखिए, डेटा जो है ना, वो मैं आपको पूरी बाद में एक शीट भी दूंगी, इसमें आगे प्रोग्रेस करेगा अभी, ठीक है?
ओके,
ठीक है, बाद में मैंने एक पूरी वुमेन लीडर्स की, एक जो 20 आइडेंटिफाइड वुमेन लीडर्स हैं, उनकी भी एक
दीदी
स्लाइड
लोगों को तो
बनाई
छोटे से
है।
ही जानते हो, पैसे
हेलो,
घूमने जाएगा ना।
प्लीज पुट योर माइक्स ऑन
चलो, बहुत बढ़िया।
म्यूट। हेलो,
लीडरशिप
ऑरेंज स्कूल कैसे चल रहा है? अब अंशुल कौन सी 8th क्लास में होगा ना?
हाँ, इस साल तो 8th में जाऊंगा।
8th में चले जाओगे ना,
मैडम,
कितने
प्लीज
बड़े हो
पुट
गए
योर
ना,
माइक्स
छोटे
ऑन
छोटे
म्यूट।
से हो
हु
होते
इज
हैं सब लोग,
स्पीकिंग?
इतने बड़े बड़े हो जाते हैं।
मैडम ये कोई विमेन भी बोल रही हैं।
हाँ, हाँ, जी हाँ, जी हाँ,
लीडरशिप।
बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं आप,
उनका बच्चा
बिल्कुल
8th में
सही कह
चला
रहे
गया
हैं
भाई।
आप। जो भी है, प्लीज मेक इट अ पॉइंट दैट आप अपना माइक म्यूट कर लें, प्लीज। और देखिए, डेटा की जो बात अभी एक साहब ने जो बोली ना, डेटा का अभी देखिए, मैं अभी आपको निकाल के बता देती हूँ डेटा क्या, उससे क्या होगा। मोर इम्पोर्टेंट इज लर्निंग। क्या आप देख नहीं रहे हैं आपके चारों तरफ कितनी लेडीज हैं जो ऐसी बात कर
जी
रही
मामा
हैं, जो
जी।
आपको दिखाई दे रहे हैं, है ना? तो यहाँ पे जो मकसद है हमारा, वो डेटा तो आप भूल जाएंगे। उस डेटा का क्या, और डेटा आपको चाहिए, हम एक पूरी
कोमल
फाइल बना
कोमल
के
गुप्ता जी ऑफ कर
आपके
लीजिए। कोमल
आपके
गुप्ता जी
इसके
ऑडियो
साथ
बंद कर
अटैच
लीजिए।
कर देंगे।
कोमल मैडम बंद करिए अपना माइक।
मैडम डेटा रहता तो एक कंपैरिजन करने में अच्छा रहता है कि कितना इम्पैक्टफुल रहा है, या
ये कौन है?
सिर्फ हवाई बातें हैं।
कौन सी है?
तुम्हारी ये पता नहीं।
रुकिए
कोमल
एक
मैम,
सेकंड,
कोमल मैम, कोमल
एक
मैम।
सेकंड रुकिए, एक सेकंड रुकिए।
नहीं मैम, आप अपनी बात फिनिश कर लीजिए पहले।
नहीं नहीं,
आप
मैं
जो दिल
अपनी
से
ही
कह रही
बात
थी
करूंगी, मैं अपनी ही
सगाई
बात
वाली?
करूंगी।
कोमल मैडम माइक म्यूट कर लीजिए।
मैं
इनको रिमूव करा दीजिए, सुन नहीं रही है। आज कोमल मैडम
अरे
माइक
आज नहीं कीजिएगा रिमूव।
सगाई में
आज होली का सामान खरीदने चले गए हैं।
ये वाली
प्लीज पुट योर माइक्स ऑन म्यूट।
मम्मी तो कहती है कि मौसी ने चेंज की है।
यही वाला
आप म्यूट कर दीजिए अपनी तरफ से।
हाँ, मैं ही कर देती हूँ।
ठीक है,
बहुत
खूबसूरत है।
छोटी है और नीचे झुमकी भारी टाइप है।
हाँ, प्यारी लग रही है मम्मा जी, बहुत सुंदर है। ये लो। मम्मा गुड है कि आपके पास जो भी साड़ी वाड़ी रखी है ना, आप
अब आपको दिखाई दे रहा है ये? ये स्लाइड दिख रही है दोबारा से? अरे, ओके ओके ओके, ठीक है जी, थैंक यू। ऑल राइट ऑल राइट। तो हम यहाँ पर थे, that there are low career aspirations among women, right? Then there are social factors, which I have been discussing from you. There is cultural barriers. Then there is the campus climate also, which is very important. What has been observed is that in certain campuses, the environment, the external and internal environment, both may be very encouraging at times for the women to take up administrative positions. But what happens is that sometimes, due to negligence or due to not giving importance or due to not being a norm, एक norm नहीं होता कि women friendly policies बनानी है, वो campus climate थोड़ा सा ऐसा होता है which is chilly for women to work. Chilly in the sense that it is not very encouraging. That is what, when I was talking in the earlier slide, saying that the organizations do not have even, let us say, a gender segment on curriculum to sensitize the people. And sometimes what happens is that it is not only the men who may not be, very encouraging, but women also. Women bosses also sometimes will not create a non-chilly climate for working women in their organizations. So when it comes to non-encouragement, it may not be, let us not stick to the fact that it is men only. It could be women for women also. It is quite a few times. Now, this is the next slide on structural factors, that there is bias in recruitment and promotion. And it happens because of another certain reasons, which I've been discussing, because women start their careers late. And after a backseat in, let us say, career related hard work for a good number of years, it is difficult for them to spring back, or they get comfortable in that comfort zone. And maybe that their efforts are not as much which are required. And consequently, we see that in promotions, etc. also, it is not the women only who are at the forefront. And other structural factors are that there is lack of research on women's leadership. There are hardly any reports, any research organizations conducting surveys regularly. There may be few here and there, but there are not many researchers which research upon the negligible number of women in higher administrative positions, not only in education sector, but worldwide also. And there are not enough qualified women candidates also for available to bring them into such leadership positions. Then the underrepresentation, how and why it happens. The chilly climate, as I was talking to you about, of the campus. Leadership positions as currently defined and implemented or enacted are less attractive to women and possibly to an increasing number of men. And they are more excluded from the informal network of intellectual leadership. As I told you, that what happens is after office hours, it is not possible for women to sit and, form friendships and, meet other people, even during, let us say, during lunch hours or after office hours. So they are generally excluded from the information or the opportunities that are available over there. And when the availability is not there, then of course it is difficult for them to excel or be at places where new opportunities are available. Now, why should we have women in leadership positions? That is to maintain the ratio. It is very important. See, for example, if there are less number of women, the ratio is going to get disturbed. For example, yesterday there was a function and some people were talking about that. Now we see that the number of girls are exceeding the number of boys in, let us say, admission to PhD programs. So somebody said that this is going to cause a ratio imbalance. That's true. That uske after effects society pe dikhai dete hain. When women get more educated in one strata of society, what happens in the personal fronts, right? But then there was this thing that those boys who are not coming forward should be motivated. Girls cannot be stopped from, getting higher education. So it is very important to have women as leaders to give a proper representation to to this gender and to utilize their unique perceptions and strengths, to let them participate in decision making, to let them have a say in policy making. Because women are also gifted and talented. They can become role models. And for all this, for doing all this, for achieving all this, we have to bring a focus on gender issues. And how can we do it? By formulating women-friendly policies. For example, if certain seats are reserved or something, that's okay, But again, my point of stress is that point of emphasis is that leave alone the positions that are there for women, principals of women's colleges, principals of girls' schools, or let us say directors of women's studies centers. These are reserved for women, or principals of women's polytechnics, etc. Women will be more visible if they are there in the area where usually and predominantly men folk are found. Then only it can be said that they are competing for power positions. Then it is also very important to publish gender segregated data, which is very less available. If you go on अभी जो साहब मुझसे बात कर रहे थे, है डेटा है, मैंने पिछले लेक्चर में काफी कुछ किया था, लेकिन क्या होता है कि उससे हम आपको वो इसके साथ अटैचमेंट भिजवा देंगे, पूरे डेटा जो भी कुछ भी हमने कहा है, हम उसके सपोर्ट में एक अटैचमेंट भिजवा देंगे जो आप सबको मिल जाएगा. डेटा पढ़ने से चेंजेस नहीं आते हैं. डेटा है तभी इस तरह की बात हो रही है. हालांकि मुझे पता है मैंने अभी म्यूट पे किया हुआ है, बट वो मजबूरी में किया हुआ है. मैं अभी थोड़ी देर बाद अनम्यूट भी कर दूंगी. So what I wish to say is that there is less gender related data available. And a few slides before, we had discussed that not many research organizations are coming forward with this kind of larger research surveys on women related topics. You can find here and there, find a percent. Last time I was there with the data in the same FIP, faculty induction program, but that data was not sufficient. It was, if you want to find a list of women leaders, it will be difficult. It will not be, a consolidated list. It will be in, into different fields. I was with a great difficulty able to find a list of educational leaders in India, which I'll be sharing in the slides later on. Then, if women are vying for leadership positions, they have to become better leaders also, and they have to work upon it. Women have to come forward and volunteer for leadership opportunities, seek them, come and take tougher assignments. Make your own list of developmental needs. How do you need to develop yourself? Carve out your career. You have to do an analysis of your strengths and weaknesses and work upon them. Maximize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses. And that the key, you have to realize that the key to success is lifetime learning, which everyone has to know. And then you have to spend some time introspecting and reflecting to understand oneself better. When I say that you have to analyze your strengths and weaknesses, that is the time when you can introspect and see what are the leadership qualities that you have. Where do you need to focus more on your personality? Which area of achievement is a gap in your CV, let us say. Compare your CVs to the ones who are your role models, let us say, or whom you admire, or whom you see around you doing a lot of work. Just compare and see what are they doing that you are not. And that is the time, when your introspection will lead you to a plan of action, maybe, where you can start working upon yourself to work better. The special needs of women. Of course, women need to be supported. They are different. We are biologically different from men, and we have our own basic needs. And now we are in an era and we are in a place where, sometimes, you go to so many places and you find that not even proper conveniences are available for women. That is a major deterrent also. Then if more scholarships and fellowships can be available, more financial aids can be available, a secure, a protected atmosphere is available, then the women are going to, that mental barrier, she can break that mental barrier and come forward and take more responsibilities. The women have to be aware of their rights. They have to develop communication skills and interpersonal relations. You have to interact with the people at your workplace, your seniors, your superiors, your peers, your juniors, right? And all the associated fields also. And that is how you develop interpersonal relations and get more work. And then, when you work better, when you start working more, when you develop interpersonal relations, you have developed your communication skills, then confidence building comes automatically. And you have to be aware of your self-worth, and you have to create your own identity. You have to work upon your autonomy needs also. Women have to work upon that. They have to learn to be self-reliant. You have to have a knack for decision making, and a sense of economic independence also has to be there, which is very essential. Why? Because most of the times we see that women get salaries, but they do not know what is happening with with that salary, or let us say they forget to manage it. Good. If you have, husband, wife, or brothers, fathers, all are there to support us. They are there to manage things for us also, most of the times. But then you should know what is happening with your earnings, how are they being invested, and how they are being utilized also. It's not that you just start becoming scared of numbers. No, why should you? You should know about the financial plans and policies, the various insurances, etc. You must know how to make your income more valuable. Never be scared of that. Learn to manage your own finances also. Now, how do you empower yourself? Okay. I'm putting everyone back. I'm unmuting. Can you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, it's not good to keep everyone on mute. That is why. So here are, now I go back to the next slide. Then if you want to feel empowered, if women have to feel empowered, they have to learn to strike a balance, a very healthy balance between work and personal life. The most important research tells us, the most of the important researchers tell us that women are bogged down by dual role pressures. So we have to demarcate, draw a line, how much to work and how much, our personal life has to be given importance. If we mix and we spill work at home and home at work, it will be very difficult to manage. You have to balance your mind in such a way that when you are at work, you are committed to work, and when you are at home, you're committed to home. Don't spill over, otherwise it will be a very bad state of mind for anyone. You have to keep learning, keep the desire to excel burning in your heart, and learn to enjoy the job, learn to enjoy the home front also. Because it is always believed that a happy worker is a productive worker. It's an HR theory. So if you enjoy and you keep appreciating others, you will keep getting appreciation also. So that is the mantra of being happy and successful. And this has been just said, I think, just a repetition of what we have said earlier, how to bring more women into leadership positions. Now, let us come to these issues and problems. If women become administrators or achieve positions of power, what are the specific issues and problems that they face? It's true that their problems are a little different. There are work related problems that you have to develop skills that are needed to take up that responsibility and share the responsibility. You have to develop an effective network of information and influence. You should know what others in the similar position are doing in their organization. You have to be in touch with them. You need to have their contacts, and then you need to have to build a camaraderie of people who are into the same position as you, so that you can discuss and share information and ideas. Help others in the team to acquire the personal skills needed to be effective, and enhance personal and team creativity. Sometimes it happens. Though the world is changing, the people's mindset have changed, but there are certain people who still feel that, it is difficult to take orders from a woman. There are people with that mindset, and they should not be taken very lightly or very seriously too. But yes, any woman must keep exercising her position and do what is right in that situation, whatever the rules say. And A simple thing is that hierarchy in any organization has to be maintained. If you are the boss, you are. Sometimes, a male staff, if he gets reprimanded by a male boss, it's okay for him. But if a female boss reprimands, it's an issue, esteem issue, self-respect issue, and everything. Although the काम जो भी किया हो वो भयंकर रेप्रिमांड वाला हो, बट क्योंकि फीमेल बॉस ने डांट दिया तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है कभी कभी. You must have the knack to resolve such issues also. And you have to understand the mindset of the people around you and act accordingly. Because most important thing is to run the organization. Some women leaders have reported that they find the working conditions non-congenial. And it's a general tendency that if a woman is a boss, okay, we can get anything done from her. She won't think much. She'll agree to us. She'll sign on whatever we say. So they think that it's easy. To be a subordinate and obey women administrators hurts the ego, sometimes, of some people. Women workers always expect sympathetic attitude. ये भी होता है कि sympathetic होंगी तो जो women folk होती हैं आपकी organization में वो आपसे बहुत कुछ expect करने लगती हैं. But the fact is that everyone has to do their job. Nobody can be set for free that तुम्हारा काम कोई और कर लेगा. Then there are value-related problems like unfair practices at various levels. Then absence of proper interpretation of values and lack of moral value education. Then women administrators sometimes cannot socialize with the male management. Sometimes, most of the times, people do not take women seriously. But a well-informed woman is always respected. Whatever seat of power a woman occupies, she must know the in and out of that seat thoroughly well to be able to command a position of respect. Then, as we have been discussing, that proper representation is not there. They may be overlooked at times for higher posts and given back seats. Social problems. To move here and there to talk with others frankly and freely is not socially permissible and not at times possible also. It is not taken in good sense, and some women are not that kind, they do not have that kind of nature also. They are reserved and they don't like to behave in such a manner. The social dogmas are always an obstacle to any advanced step to be taken. So it's difficult for women to move around in power circles also. So how to move around in a power circle, keeping in mind your own dignity, your own status, is also something which you have to work upon and create a method for your own self so that you do not go unnoticed even. Now, what are the self-related problems? A woman's mind is always having a battle, a war inside with, I do not have enough time to spend with my husband and children. I cannot indulge in any of my hobbies right now. I cannot recreate myself. I'm always, having a busy schedule. I don't have time to relax. And I'm not able to give much time in college. You may feel like that, and when you are at home you may feel that you're not giving enough time to your family. You feel overburdened. Office, home, children, it's a vicious circle which you can never get out of it. And then you have to look after the affairs of the institution and the family as well. और मैं आपको एक बात और बता दूं कि ये जो सारे पॉइंट्स यहाँ पे दिख रहे हैं ना, जो मैं धीरे धीरे करके आपसे शेयर कर रही हूँ, ये भी रिसर्च से ही आए हैं, क्वेश्चनर्स का हिस्सा हैं ये सब. तो जो मैं यहाँ पे आपके साथ शेयर कर रही हूँ वो एकदम क्या मैं कहूँगी बिल्कुल भी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट नहीं है. ये सब वेल रिसर्च्ड पॉइंट्स हैं. And if any of the women over here have attended any such workshops related to such issues, they can share with their male colleagues about the reasons. ये reasons कहाँ से आते हैं? ये सब research based ही तो हैं. What does a woman feel? क्या ऐसा feel होता है? ये चीजें हैं जो उसके माइंड पे एक्ट कर रही होती हैं, जो उसको रोक रही होती हैं. ये सब वेल रिसर्च्ड पॉइंट्स हैं. This is something which I would like all of you to do, that you have to review your performance as a leader. We have been discussing about the qualities of a leader, the duties of a leader, how to become a leader, how to gain a position of prominence, power, etc. So it is very important for both men and women to see your performance as a leader. How many leadership roles have you played till now, and what all have you done over there? And what that role. So it is an individual
And you're not audible.
action plan to improve as a leader. Uske liye, what you can do is list 2 actions that you will undertake to address weaknesses or capitalize on opportunities identified. For example, you can list your, let us say, strengths. Now, if you have the strengths and then you're not utilizing them, they're going to waste. So your plan of action should include what are you going to do with those strengths, which can take you towards leadership, can take you closer to leadership position, right? And then, and everybody has weaknesses, list them too, and see how you can learn to do away with it, how to minimize it. And then you can apply SMART targets to your actions, which are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. You can set a time boundary for yourself also, that you're going to do this to minimize your weaknesses. Now, how to improve leadership skills? You have to reflect upon it. Reflect upon the need to lead effectively. And for that, you can ask for feedback from your colleagues, your line managers, your tutors, people around you. Then practice. Take on work. Go and get work. Volunteer. Go join clubs and societies and reflect on your performance. And this is the best thing if that can happen to anyone, is that you can have a mentor for yourself. With a mentor, the journey is very smooth and you achieve quicker results, because here is a person who is a storehouse of knowledge, storehouse of experience, storehouse of wisdom. And if that person is there to have a look at every step of yours and guide you, of course your journey is going to become very easier. Lucky are the ones who find mentors. So you can have, if you have a mentor at a workplace, it's the luckiest thing that can happen to anyone. And then you can attend certain leadership and management training programs. This activity will be there in the PPT. You can see and try to do it if you want later on. Now here we come to, this is one thing which I could find with a lot of difficulty. Top 20 women academic leaders in India. And this was what was available, only 20 names. We didn't have 50, we didn't have 100, etc. But but I was not able to get on what basis these academic leaders have been decided. The article did not carry that, although I have given a link of this article also, India's 20 pragmatic women leaders in education. So when I send the soft copy of the PPT, you can find the link over here and see. But there was no such thing which mentioned the basis of the decision of their being the top 20. So this is the status of data on women. So here it is available for you to see. Now, this is the list. Now I have stopped sharing it. Then we have some time in hand. I hope. Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
अब आप बताइए.
Yes, ma'am.
अब आप बताइए. If there is any question or anything that you want to share, I will be happy. This is the last session. Now you have your valedictory session.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
मैडम,
जी मैम.
शीबा मैडम,
जी.
तो मैं आपको कांग्रेचुलेट करना चाहूंगा कि एक सीरियस इश्यू को आपने रेज किया, यहाँ हम लोग के समक्ष रखा.
आपका यही एक पैरेलल एफआईपी चल रहा था जिसमें मैं बहुत सारे डेटा के साथ आई थी और मुझे टाइम कम पड़ गया था और वो डेटा मेरे डेस्कटॉप पे ही था, मुझे अभी मिल भी नहीं रहा है. मुझे आई एम नॉट द काइंड ऑफ पर्सन टू थ्रो स्टैटिस्टिक्स. Statistics can be found anywhere. It is readily available. I will send you. Don't worry. I will send you now. जिन एक साहब ने जो बोला था तो मैं उसको सपोर्ट कर दूंगी.
मैंने मांगा था मैडम, मैंने ही पूछा
आप ही
था.
ने मांगा था. हाँ, अच्छा. मैं भेजूंगी आपको. ये HRDC मेल करेगा वो सब कुछ. और यही मेरे डेस्कटॉप पे कहीं फाइल पड़ी होगी, वो मुझे मिल जाएगी, मैं आपको भेज दूंगी. लेकिन उससे कोई फायदा नहीं होगा. उस स्टैटिस्टिक्स से कोई फायदा नहीं होना है. फायदा जहाँ होना है वो ये होना है कि हम इस बात को अंडरस्टैंड करें कि जो चिली क्लाइमेट है किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूशन का, हम लोग एजुकेशन से हैं, हम उसकी बात कर रहे हैं, एकेडमिक लीडरशिप की बात कर रहे हैं, उसको कैसे बेहतर बनाया जाए. अब उसके लिए आपका इस बेसिक बात से एग्री करना जरूरी है दैट वुमेन हैव टू कम अप एज लीडर्स.
मैडम, इसके साथ सिर्फ ये डेटा नहीं, साइकोलॉजी वाला डेटा भी चाहिए कि आपने जो पक्ष रखा विमेन के पास ये ट्रेड्स होते हैं जिसके आधार पे वो बेहतर लीडर साबित हो सकती हैं. तो ऐसा किस स्टडी में है मैडम?
ठीक है.
मैं ये भी जानना चाहूंगा.
सुनिए, हम आपको एक बात बताते हैं. हम आपसे किसी और रिसर्चर की बात नहीं करेंगे, हम आपको अपनी रिसर्च भेजेंगे. ठीक है. और वो एम्पेरिकल बेस्ड रिसर्च है. आप वो पेपर पढ़िएगा. ठीक है. और एक एक बात आपको उसमें मिलेगी. ठीक है.
ओके मैडम.
और वो, लेकिन हाँ, वो मैंने होटल इंडस्ट्री के एम्प्लॉइज के ऊपर लिखी थी, मगर वो जनरलाइज किए जा सकते हैं सारे रिजल्ट्स. और जो वो डेस्कटॉप पे फाइल थी वो भी मैं ढूंढ के आपको भेजूंगी. बट आई एम नॉट द वन टू डिस्कस डेटाज अननेसेसरीली. इस टॉपिक पे डेटा से बात नहीं होनी है. अगर आप बेसिक, अगर आप सुनिए साइकोलॉजिकली जो आप कह रहे हैं, क्या यहाँ पे कितने लोग हैं जो डिसएग्री करते हैं कि ये विमेन, जो विमेन है उनसे पूछिए. मैं हूँ, आई एम अ वुमन स्पीकिंग ऑन सच थिंग.
तो आई एम मैन, सो आई कैन.
मैं आपकी बात समझ रही हूँ, लेकिन आप भी बात समझिए.
You have all rights to defend your gender.
No. आप ये बेसिक चीजें जो दुनिया के हर अखबार, दुनिया की हर आर्टिकल, दुनिया की हर रिसर्च जिसको पब्लिश कर रही है, अगर वही मुझे प्रूव करना पड़ेगा तो फिर तो बात करनी ही मुश्किल हो जाएगी ना.
नहीं मैडम, सबसे पहली बात है कि साइकोलॉजिकली इसको हम कैसे डिवाइड कर सकते हैं कि ये स्त्री है. ये स्त्री का एक प्रकार से डिग्निटी का अपमान है कि वो इस प्रकार से सिर्फ उनका एक नैरेटिव सेट कर दिया गया है, एक इमेज में बना दिया गया. जो आपने ट्रेड्स बताए हैं वो तो उसका एक इमेज बना दिया गया है.
देखिए, आप जो नैरेटिव की बात कर रहे हैं ना, वो नैरेटिव जो हिंदुस्तान की जो महिलाएं हैं उसके 80% जो रिमोट एरियाज में रहती हैं.
मैं भी रिमोट एरिया से
सुनिए, और कुछ लेडीज जिनसे आप मिलते होंगे अपने चारों तरफ, उसका परसेंटेज बहुत छोटा है. तो हम उसको ये नहीं कह सकते कि नैरेटिव सेट कर दिया गया. वो सच है. जो हम दिख रहे हैं आपको, या आपके साथ बैठी हुई महिलाएं यहाँ पे आपको दिख रही हैं, वो एक बहुत छोटा सा सच है. आप बताइए, क्या हमारी कंट्री रूरल कंट्री नहीं है? एग्रीकल्चरल इकोनॉमी नहीं है हमारी? है ना.
बिल्कुल
है ना. ठीक है. हमारा तो 60 से 65% जो भारत है वो रूरल है.
69%
है ना.
69% रूरल इंडिया,
ऑलमोस्ट 70 जिसे आप कहेंगे. अब उसमें आप देखिए कि जो रूरल एरियाज हैं उनमें क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज अवेलेबल हैं, और जहां पैसों की कमी होती है, रिसोर्सेस की कमी होती है, हम इस बात को नहीं रिफ्यूट कर सकते कि जहां 3 लड़कियां और एक भाई हैं तो उस भाई को पढ़ाई की बेहतर अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिलेंगी ज्यादातर, लीव अलोन सम केसेस। और लेडीज को नहीं भेजा जाएगा तो वो क्यों नहीं भेजा जाएगा? क्योंकि वो रास्ते में अकेली नहीं जा सकती, उनकी सिक्योरिटी का इशू है। ऐसे ऐसे केसेस हैं जहां लेडीज स्कूल में टॉयलेट्स तक नहीं है, गर्ल्स बैक आउट ऑफ स्कूल बिकॉज ऑफ सच रीजंस।
वो तो सर, वो तो मैडम,
वो तो उसका तो
वो
कोई,
तो
अगर हम इस
कॉलेज
तरह
में भी
से,
बहुत सारे टॉयलेट्स नहीं है, मेल के लिए भी वही समस्या है।
लेकिन फीमेल के लिए हैं, बहुत ज्यादा समस्या है, डिफिकल्ट हो जाती है सिचुएशन और भी।
मैम, मुझे यहाँ पे एक बात ये कहनी थी कि वो तो बात है कि टॉयलेट्स की प्रॉब्लम है और मेल और फीमेल की बॉडीज डिफरेंट,
छोटी सी बात
दे
कही
आर
मैंने।
डिफरेंट। लेकिन मुझे यहाँ पे ये कहना है कि डेवलप्ड कंट्री है जैसे कि कोरिया है, तो वहां पे साउथ कोरिया में लेडीज बिल्कुल इंडिपेंडेंट हो गई हैं। तो अब वो कहती हैं कि नहीं मुझे शादी नहीं करनी, मुझे बच्चे नहीं करना, दे आर जस्ट डिनाइंग कि
वो
गवर्नमेंट
दूसरा एंड है,
परेशान हो गई,
वो दूसरा एंड है,
मेल्स
एक्सट्रीम है।
रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं ले रहे हैं एंड दे आर डिनाइंग।
मैंने कहा ना कि रेशो का मेंटेनेंस बहुत जरूरी है।
मैम, साउथ कोरिया ऑलरेडी प्लास्टिक सर्जरी का कैपिटल बन चुका है दुनिया में। और
लेकिन हम अभी जहाँ पे बैठे हुए हैं जिस कंट्री में, उसमें अभी ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है। और अभी तक ये बातें कर रहे हैं कि बेटर अपॉर्चुनिटीज विमेन के लिए आ सके। अब देखिए आज के दौर में आप देख रहे हैं कि थोड़ी बहुत विमेन वाइस चांसलर्स दिखने लग गई हैं अब, वरना पहले तो नहीं थी।
मैम, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की स्थिति ये यहाँ तक है, अभी भी भ्रूण हत्याएं हो रही हैं, स्त्रियों को गर्भ में मारा जा रहा है, बच्चियों को। तो ये चीजें तो घर से ही होती हैं, उनकी मानसिकताएं दबा दी जाती है, दब जाती हैं।
मैडम, लीडरशिप की बात है तो यूपी ऐसा प्रथम राज्य है जहाँ की प्रथम राज्यपाल महिला रही है। भारत उन देशों में शामिल है, प्रथम रूप से शामिल है, जहां महिलाओं को मतदान का अधिकार मिला था, महिलाओं को उत्तराधिकार का अधिकार मिला था। भारत
ऐसा
उन
नहीं
देशों में
है।
शामिल है।
जब एंशियंट आप इजिप्ट में जाइए तो वहां पे जो है फिरौन्स जो होती थी, लेडी होती थी क्लियोपैट्रा, एंड देयर आर सो मेनी एंड दे रूल थ्रू आउट द वर्ल्ड, वेरी पावरफुल नेशंस। यूरोप में उन्होंने रूल किया, अफ्रीका में रूल किया, तो हर कंट्री में आपको एग्जाम्पल मिलेंगे, लेकिन वो एक्सेप्शन है, उसको हम लोग लेके नहीं चल सकते। हम लोग जनरल पॉपुलेशन को हम लोग देखेंगे।
डॉक्टर शाही,
एक्सेप्शंस पे नहीं, वो आउटलायर्स हैं।
यस मैम।
नहीं डॉक्टर
आउटलायर्स हैं, एक्सेप्शंस नहीं। आउटलायर्स इज समथिंग वेरी मूव।
Mr. Jha, let me speak for a minute, is that कि जब हम लीडरशिप पोजीशंस की बात कर रहे हैं, सिर्फ एजुकेशनली क्वालिफाइड होने की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं या एक्सेस टू एजुकेशन की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं। जब हम लीडरशिप पोजीशंस की बात कर रहे हैं, चाहे वो कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड हो, एकेडमिक वर्ल्ड हो या पॉलिटिकल सिनेरियो हो, कहीं इवन इन डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज लीडरशिप पोजीशंस पे वही हाल है, दैट women are in negligible numbers, है ना, उंगलियों पे गिनी जा सकती हैं।
दुनिया का सबसे विकसित देश अमेरिका है मैम, लेकिन वहाँ भी अभी कोई महिला राष्ट्रपति नहीं बनी। तो ये चीजें हैं, वैश्विक स्तर पे हैं ये लीडरशिप के मामले।
और जब कोई लेडी सेनेट हाउस तक या हायर पावर सर्कल तक पहुंचती है तो वो एक न्यूज होती है, एक रेज होती है, फर्स्ट ये वाला फला। सो वी आर स्टिल इन दैट पोजीशन. So the whole topic of discussion is not just being about educationally qualified, but if you are earning, you should be economically and financially independent. Number one, that is one power itself. And many of the women folk around us, PhDs, doctors, professors, when you ask them, "Acha, you have done 15 years of job. How much have you accumulated? What are your investments?" They say, "अरे मुझे पता नहीं है, हस्बैंड देख रहे हैं." गुड, देख रहे हैं, अच्छी बात है, मगर आपको भी पता होना चाहिए. Why should it be when it comes to finances or the difficult part, you give it to someone else? Do it yourself. Do it together. Do it together. Learn what is happening to your income. See how you can invest it better, right? That's the point. And coming out
Ma'am,
of
research
difficult
के
tasks.
मैम रिसर्च के भी इसमें होता है, एकेडमिक्स में भी होता है, एकेडमिया में ये देखा गया
सब
है। जो
जगह
आज
होता है।
हम लोग इतना डीएनए बोल रहे हैं, वो वॉटसन एंड क्रिक ने पोस्टुलेट नहीं किया था पहले, उससे पहले किया था रोजलिन ने, लेकिन इन्होंने पहले पब्लिश करा दिया तो वॉटसन एंड क्रिक का हो गया, और वो जो लेडी थी वो गायब हो गई। तो ये सब होता है कि मैरी क्यूरी जो थी वो शी वाज वेरी फॉर्चुनेट कि सी रिसीव नोबेल प्राइज, अदरवाइज वर्क रहता है लेडीज का। आप देखिएगा एंशियंट टाइम में व्हील का इन्वेंशन कौन कर रहा है? आदमी कर रहा है। फायर का कौन कर रहा है? मतलब इस तरह से ग्राफिक्स में दिखाया जाता है कि व्हील्स आदमी बना रहा है, फायर का इन्वेंशन आदमी कर रहा है। तो लेडीज कहाँ गई थी? किसने क्या क्या होता है, लेकिन ग्राफिक्स में तो ऐसे ही दिखाया।
अब वो देखिए, इसको इतना हम लोग बेसिक लेवल पे ना ले आए, लेडीज वर्सेस जेंट्स। इट्स नॉट दैट, वी आर हियर टू कोएग्जिस्ट, right? We are here to coexist, and it is more important that when we work with males, we share our problems with them rather than imposing on them that you are the creator. It's not all the time. Sometimes they are very supportive also. Some of them are very good. So it's more important to bring out the good in the people around you rather than, I believe, that harping on feminism and being the underplayers all the time. It's good to be friends. It's good to be on a congenial level with one another, so that equal opportunities and equality comes naturally. They should not feel distant from you. ऐसा होना चाहिए ना कि वो आपसे बात कर सके और आप उनसे कर सके, तो अपने आप चीजें बेहतर होती चली जाएंगी. It's good to talk and be friends with each other rather than creating an unnecessary rift of being males and females. Coexistence is the best thing, I think. That is there. But yes, you have to be excellent in your work, because excellence is something which is going to fetch the best things in life for you. And nobody will be able to point out fingers. That is all.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay. So, if there's
Good morning,
anything
ma'am.
else,
मैडम,
otherwise
तो
we'll take
इसका
leave
मतलब
from you.
ये हो सकता है शिवा मैडम कि
जी,
हम
बोलिए।
ना स्त्री के बारे में बात करें ना पुरुष के बारे में। एक पोस्ट होता है, कोई भी पोस्ट होता है, तो उसके लिए जो डिजर्विंग है, जो उसको सबसे अच्छे उसको भूमिका निभा सके बिना डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के, कि वो मेरा मेल कलीग है तो उसके साथ अलग बिहेव करना है, फीमेल कलीग है तो उसको अलग बिहेव करना है, बिना डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के वो निभा सके, वो डिजर्व करता है।
हाँ, अगर
वो
ऐसा
बेहतर
हो
ढंग से निभा
सके,
सकता है।
ये एक यूटोपियन, एक आइडियल सिचुएशन है जिसकी आप बात कर रहे हैं, मगर अगर ऐसा हो सके तो नथिंग लाइक इट।
यहाँ तो कदम कदम पे डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है मैम।
सॉरी
मैडम, ना चाहते हुए भी बनाम हो जा रहा है ये।
Good morning, country of discrimination, ma'am. How is it possible? How is it
Discrimination is not
possible, ma'am?
necessarily tyranny. People should differentiate discrimination from tyranny. हमेशा
प्रदीप जी, आप भी
often
कहिए।
they are the same often, but not
सुनाइए
always.
अपनी बात।
Good
मेरा
morning,
कहने
you had a
का,
class at
I
10:40.
think all women, I don't know whether even all women will agree to it. What I feel is that if a woman is capable, let her have that position.
मैम, मेरी बॉस एक फीमेल थी
That
और
is the
मैंने
thing,
कई
sir.
दिनों के काम किए, और एटलीस्ट कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में वो मतलब इट हैज जीरो ट्रेसेस ऑफ देहातीपना बेसिकली, कि लड़की है तो ये नहीं करेंगे, लड़की है तो बात नहीं मानेंगे, इसमें कंप्लीटली होता नहीं है। तो माय वेरी स्मॉल क्वेश्चन इज, इफ देयर आर so few female leaders out there, then why should we see it as a problem at all? I mean, there are too many men in prison, too many men who are beggars. I don't see it as a problem.
Okay, so you
I'm
want
pretty
to
sure
say
that
that
even majority of women don't see it as a problem either. Judging by my conversation with numerous of them, I know I'm being a bit biased कि एक आदमी का personal experience जो है ना उसको generalize नहीं किया जा सकता। बट दिस इज माई क्वेश्चन कि अगर ज्यादातर लड़कियों को इस बात से प्रॉब्लम नहीं है कि देयर आर टू फ्यू फीमेल लीडर्स, then should we see this as a problem? If there are too many, बहुत ज़्यादा लकड़ी है दुनिया में, बहुत कम डायमंड है दुनिया में, should we see this as a problem?
Okay.
So we
I'll
are
let you know.
good
The
and we
problem-
are diamond.
No. I'll tell you one thing. If the problem is of personal choice, if the if the invisibility of women at higher positions is due to personal choices, which can be another research, I think, that is it a personal choice or a forced situation? If it's a personal, today, I relinquished an administrative position 3 months back. It was my personal choice, right? I didn't want to continue it because I had done enough of it. So I gave it away, right? So I'm satisfied. I don't have any problem. I'm doing something else, right? But if somebody wants to have it and is not able to get it just because she's a woman, that is a wrong situation.
Yes, ma'am.
And if she has not attained that, those qualifications and those number of years due to the factors which we had discussed, due to societal factors, due to, esteem factors, etc., due to the society situation, right? Then it is something wrong. If there is something which can be done at the level of the government, at the level of the organization, if there is slight change which has to come in the society, then it should come, right? Personal choices are not being, you want to say that there are few number of women because they don't want to become leaders? No, that's not an absolute thing to have, right? If by choice it is not there, it's okay. If, let us say, if you talk to 10 women, 6 will at least agree that they want to have position of power. 4 will say, I'm happy the way I am. So, okay, for those 4. But for those 6, there should be a process, a method from where they can achieve that. They should be, और उसके barriers हमको कम करने.
Actually, मैम,
मैम एक बात कही जाती है कि नारी न मोह नारी के रूपा. पुरुषवाद की बात तो छोड़ दीजिए, यहाँ स्त्रियों के नेतृत्व को सह नहीं पाती.
वो तो रहेगा, ये तो रहती दुनिया तक रहेगा. सह पाए या नहीं पाए, तो उनको वुमेन को भी फेस करना है. उनको वुमेन को भी फेस करना है.
जी मैम.
वो तो कोई बात नहीं है. It's not something like man versus woman over here. पहली बात तो आप लोग ये क्लियर कर लें अपने दिमाग में.
बिल्कुल मैम, वही बात.
प्रेजेंटेशन I was talking to you like that only, है ना? ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. और मैंने आपने प्रेजेंटेशन में भी देखा होगा, अगर आप ध्यान दे रहे थे, कि विमेन और विमेन की भी बात हुई है ना? तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, आपके सामने कोई भी आके खड़ा हो सकता है. और सबसे पहले तो लड़की की माँ ही रोकती है उसे स्कूल जाने से कि मत जाओ, प्रॉब्लम है. तो वहां पे जरा सिचुएशन साफ होनी चाहिए.
जी मैम.
एक्चुअली मैम, जो प्रोसेस ऑफ सोशलाइजेशन है और जो प्रोसेस, जो कंसेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की जो पावर है, वो मेल डोमिनेटेड है. जैसे सेवन डू बुआ की एक बहुत फेमस बुक है, सेकंड सेक्स में कहती हैं, अ वुमन इज नॉट बोर्न बट शी इज मेड. एक औरत पैदा नहीं होती, वो बनाई जाती है. तो जो कंसेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की पावर, जो मेल, जिसकी बात शाहीन मैम कर रही थी कि फिगर्स में दिखाया जा रहा है कि व्हील का इन्वेंशन मेल कर रहा है या फायर का इन्वेंशन मेल कर रहा है, तो हु इज कंट्रोलिंग द कंसेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पावर? तो ये जो इशू है, और बहुत अच्छे से आपने रोहित सर के क्वेश्चन को हैंडल किया कि अगर किसी पर्सनल एक मोहल्ले में अगर एक बच्चा नहीं पढ़ रहा है, इट्स द मैटर ऑफ चॉइस. बट एक मोहल्ले में अगर 100 बच्चे नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, देन इट्स अ सोशल इशू. देन देयर इज नीड टू पेनिट्रेट द something educational values, maybe financial values. तो मैम वो उसको समझ पाना बहुत मुश्किल होता है कि हम उससे टैलेंट के आधार पर नाप लेते हैं.
एक बात मैं आपको और बताना चाहूंगी यहाँ पे, जो मैंने अभी फील की. इसी जो पैरेलल FIP चल रहा है, मैंने बताया ना, बहुत सारी स्टैटिस्टिक्स मैंने करी थी, लेकिन आज मैं भूल गई उसे. मैं एक सप्लीमेंट्री पर्चा अपने साथ रखती हूँ, भूल गई. मैंने कहा ऐसी बात कर लेंगे, ठीक है. स्टैटिस्टिक्स आर नॉट सो इम्पोर्टेंट, बट बिकॉज मे बी आई एम अ फीमेल और मैंने स्टैटिस्टिक्स नहीं बोली, तो उस पे ऑब्जेक्शन आ गया.
Why aren't women asking questions?
Statistic number in women, इसका होता है कि अगर नंबर नहीं बोले तो बात नहीं है भाई. मैं आपको भेजूंगी जरूर स्टैटिस्टिक्स भाई. आई विल मेक इट अ पॉइंट टू सेंड यू दैट. ओके, अगर हो सकता है किसी और से कुछ सवाल नहीं.
मैंने आपको ऑफेंड करने के लिए नहीं पूछा था.
Not offended at all.
और स्टेट नहीं होगा.
देखिए, यहाँ पे बात हो रही है उन चीजों की. मैंने खुद अपने प्रेजेंटेशन में कहा है कि When it comes to numbers, women tend to, मैंने नेग्लेक्ट कर दिया उस चीज को, अगर कोई बात नहीं, अगर नई स्टेटिस्टिक्स बोली तो क्या हो गया, लेकिन आपने मांग ली मुझसे, है ना, तो अच्छा किया मांग ली, हम देंगे आपको।
और जैसे भारत में वो बोला जाता ना, जैसे बिहार में हुआ है जातिगत आरक्षण, ये जनगणना,
नहीं, आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा,
तो जब
लेकिन
तक उसके पास डेटा नहीं रहेगा वो क्या,
डेटा,
किस आधार पे वो
ये
प्लानिंग
डेटा
करेगा?
बहुत ज्यादा अवेलेबल है, एंड समटाइम्स इट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट टू टॉक अबाउट द एब्स्ट्रैक्ट थिंग्स एज यू वर सेइंग, है ना।
So, I'm from philosophy,
डेटा
so
से
I
कुछ नहीं
know
होगा।
how abstract we speculate.
अच्छा मैम, बिफोर वी कंटिन्यू, क्या एक चीज क्या सारी औरतें इंक्लूडिंग फेमिनिस्ट्स कैन बी थैंकफुल फॉर एग्जांपल, there are far fewer women in jails, there are far fewer women who commit dangerous crimes, there are a lot more men who die in dangerous industrial accidents. So is it not an accidental benefit of patriarchy?
Yes, it is. we do not take
लड़कियां एक
any
दूसरे का
risk
सर नहीं
here.
फोड़ रही,
नहीं।
लड़के ऑलमोस्ट डेली बेसिस पे कर रहे हैं।
Sheeba ma'am, it's 36. You have a class.
Yes, I know.
नहीं तो जेल में अगर वो
The
क्राइम
discussion
करेंगी
will
तो
go
क्यों नहीं
on,
जाएंगी, वो
on and
क्राइम
on
नहीं करेंगी।
forever.
कितनी फीमेल्स ने एसिड फेंका मेल्स पे, आप ये डेटा देंगे मुझे?